Give portraits a twist with custom AI backdrops is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. This is going to take a little longer than 10 minutes, but we'll see if we can get it within about 15 minutes or less, starting now. Hello, everyone. All right, now, on our Facebook group, which a lot of you really should switch over because we moved from Mighty Networks, over something like 70-something thousand people. We moved them over to Facebook. Here it is, right there is the Facebook group. So make sure you copy this link so you have it. And if you haven't done so already, to keep this going, there is the link to Luminar Coffee Breaks, because starting next week, which is August 6th, 2025, is when you'll need that new link to watch the show on Zoom. All right, it'll still be on YouTube, so we always have that. But this way you'll get notified when it all comes in. Check that out. All right. Now, over on Facebook, there's been a lot of debate about AI. Some photographers like it, other photographers hate it. But you know what? It reminds me of, honestly, and I hate to say that, you know what? I don't hate to say it. I'm going to say it. It's childish. It's like the old Nikon versus Canon, Mac versus PC. You know, people get stuck in this rut that that's the tool. You are the artist. The camera, the computer, the software, even Luminar Neo. It's a tool to encapsulate your vision. And that's what I want to work with you guys about today, is with AI. Now, I'm going to show you two ways of doing this. All right, so let me dive right in. This is the final output. This is what we're going to end up with. This is what I started with. Now, when I did this photo shoot, it's not my proudest moment, but it wasn't for the model. It was for the dress manufacturing company. So the goal was to have all the focus on the dress, not on the backdrop, not on the model, not on the earrings on it. It's the dress. So when you do stuff like this, yes, it's a boring, very, very boring looking portrait, but that's what it was. Now, with AI and a couple of these other things, we're able to take it into this. But that backdrop that you're seeing right there, I had to buy that. I bought a whole bunch of them. And now with AI, you could create those yourself, because a graphic artist did that. I highly doubt, or maybe I could be wrong, a photographer photographed those, a wreath like that, because somebody had to style it. I'm not talented enough to style a wreath that looks like that. So I'm going to rely on my graphic friends to help me along, and this is how we're going to get started. Ready? So first thing I need to do is, I want to crop the daylights out of this. All right. And I'm going to crop it. What I want, instead of the original size, I am going to make it a landscape, and I crop heads. Yes, I have no problem. Now I'm going to show you something here. Because she was an inexperienced model, notice this is not flattering down in here. Why? Because she rolled her, look at her shoulder, she rolled it forward. So if you're going to photograph a subject, get them to roll their shoulder back and drop. That way you don't get those creases. I mean, she's a thin person, but that's not flattering. So I can either fix it, by erasing it, or, look how fast that was. I'm able just to use the crop tool, and I'm going to move it into position. Problem solved. All right. So we have that situated. Now, just simple enhancements. One of my favorite go-tos, Enhance AI. Now that we have the portrait auto adjust, I'm not really concerned with going overboard. I just want it to look good. So I'm going to come down to the portrait. Here's my face, or her face. Just a little relight, but the eyes. I know she has beautiful brown eyes. I didn't capture it the way I wanted. So let's do this. I'm going to change the color to brown. Oh, look what that just did. And I'm going to enlarge her eyes just a little bit, pop a little flare in there, and get rid of the dark circles under the eyes. All right, and again, this is just real quick. Skin. Now, I talked to my buddy Ben just before we went on air. My buddy Ben, I asked him, would you want me to show it from beginning to end? And he said, yes, he wants to see my workflow. So instead of me doing all this stuff without you guys seeing it, I'm doing it in real time. That's why this is going to take a little longer. There we have it. So look at this. Before, after, beautiful, done. Now let's get creative, all right? We're going to go back to our layers that we did last time. Again, I'm going to click the plus icon. And where do I keep my backdrops? Well, remember we talked about this? Go to your photography folder. So I have a folder called photography. In there I have assets. Under assets, there it is. There's my background. All right. Now that I have my background, and by the way, in fact, I'm going to bring this one in. I'll show you this one too. This is where those dream scenes, I bought these. Now, I can't give you those as an exercise file because somebody else owns them. But because I did create an AI version of this one right here, I can give you that now. So that's another benefit with using AI. So here we go, open. And there's the one I created this one just recently. All right, and actually, you know what? I'm going to use the one I created because in this way I can include that as an exercise file. I'm going to come in and tell it to fill this whole image. All right. So look, I like it right about there. That looks pretty good. And so I have my mask. Now, of course, that doesn't look the way you think it's going to look, right? Well, watch what we're going to do. We're going to change the layer blend mode. Something like either overlay. So let's go to overlay. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's looking better. Let's see what the other ones look like. Soft light, maybe. I like soft light, but you know what? I think overlay is going to help a little bit better. Right about there. But look what it did to her. So we're going to duplicate the background layer, and this is called a sandwich method. I move it to the top. Now it's on top of the layers that we just created. By putting it on top, it hides everything. Well, this is where AI comes in. Let's do a portrait background removal. So I'm going to tell it this is a portrait. Remove it, and watch what it's going to do. It's going to punch a hole straight through to remove the backdrop. But look, it kept the backdrop, the other backdrop behind me. All right. So I have that set. And what I'm going to do is this. Because I didn't fill the rest of it, I have two choices here. What I'm going to do is just duplicate the backdrop. And now, see how it just filled in the blank for me? But what I'm going to do is this. I only want it in that little section. So I'm going to brush, paint in the effect just here. Nowhere else. Right? And then I'm going to take it and just stretch it out. There we go. And so by doing what I just did, now you can go back to this layer. And all I'm doing right now is I'm actually doing maintenance to kind of clean this up. Let me invert this. Invert. There we go. So what I ended up doing here was what I just need to do for a moment, hide that layer, is what I'm doing is I'm taking this backdrop that doesn't fill the scene. So I'm going to show the layer that it's not filling the scene. In fact, because I did that masking, give it a moment, it'll come back. What I have to do is I have to fill the backdrop somehow. So it's ideal to say, okay, well, start with a backdrop that's already that size. Here, I didn't do that. So, there we go. So what I need to do is come in, and let me hide this layer for a moment, and just rebuild this in front of you. All right. There we go. Mask, brush, paint. There we go. We got that right in there. There we go. All right, now I got it. And show that layer again. All right. And now from here, I would continue. But right now, notice that color is not where I want it. So why don't I do this? Flip it. Wrong one. Flip the bottom one. Nope, I like that one. I'll flip this one. So all I'm doing, I hope I'm not confusing you, is all I'm doing now is trying to match that black seam. But for now, I'm going to leave it the way it is. And because I didn't use my original background, why don't we just do this to make life easier? There we go. All right, there. I'll do that. All right. All right. So now that we got it in with that new AI backdrop that I got that off of ChatGPT. I just typed in vintage wreath backdrop, boom, and that's what it came up with. Now that we did this, ready? This is the backdrop I have here, and I have her here. So I'm going to duplicate her one more time. And I'm going to take these three, and I'm just going to merge those layers together. So this way, just for file maintenance and to make my layers look clean for me. So now that I did this, right, I have it up on here on the layer. What I am going to do is I'm going to bring this out just a little bit because I don't like how it's too dark. Since it's on its own layer, look at this. I can start editing just that particular layer. Enrich the black tones. Let's bump up the shadows a little bit. There we go. There. All right. There we have it. All right. Look at that. So we went from this to this in such a short time. Now, there are a lot of little things I need to clean up. And that's what I want to show you. Mask, brush, right in here. See her, it didn't capture the mask the way I want it. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to erase, and I'm going to bring the strength down just a little bit. And this is where patience comes in. See what I'm doing? I'm going to go over. And now why is that? I'm able to see, because remember, underneath I have the original picture. So now look what I'm doing. All I'm coming in is I just want to clean up some of that spot. If I messed up like I did here, just paint back over it. And now it's a matter of you being an artist. All right. So this is one way of doing it. All right. Now, I love right where it's at. I love what I did. However, we're going to finish it off. So I'm going to select all the layers, merge the layers together. Now that I merged all those layers together, now, in essence, what I'm doing is I'm working on just one layer now. So all those other layers, they're not having any effect on this image right now. I could delete them, move them, whatever. We're working strictly on this layer. Here is where I want to apply the tools to just that layer. So let's use a vignette because I want to bring the focus on the Jessie. Her name is Jessie. So look at this. A little inner light to her. Look at that. Do you see how this? Do you see what we just did there? How I brought focus back to her? And two last things I'm going to do is develop global change, make everything dark. Now, let's use a local change. I only want that on this half of the image. There we go. Look at that. All right. Now, I joked, but guess what? When in doubt, let Carly bail you out. So my good friend Carly Sullins, she made these incredible textures. She hand paints these things. So I'm using one of her old master textures. You can find those on Luminar Marketplace. Again, I can't give you those because it's hers. But look what I just did. I'm going to apply it at full strength. That's what it looks like, right? What I'm going to do, instead of it being fill, I'm going to stretch it. because I want to use all of Carly's design in this image. But the star of the show right here is this overlay. So let's go to soft overlay. I'm going to dial it out a bit. I love what it's doing to the background. On her skin, not so much. So brush, erase, lower strength, and watch this. We're going to come in. I just want to get it off of her. There we go. Just enough to where I still want it on the background. And I'm using the left and right bracket keys to make the brush bigger or smaller. And then the X key is switching between paint and erase. Look, let's see if it makes a difference. Ready? Before, after, look at that. All right. And one last thing, I know I said that before. I just realized one last thing I didn't do is this. I'm going to merge these two layers again, back down. When you're done doing a composition like this, remember the colors. The color of Yessie, she wasn't photographed with that background and with the lighting. So what we need to do is we're going to come down here to color transfer. I need to somehow match the color of her skin with the background. So I could do it with an overlay. I could take another one of those images and put a brown overlay to make all of it match. Or why not do one of these? We'll use Carly's image. Let's see if that works. And we'll see what that does to it. And now what I'm doing is, that's a little too aggressive. So let's go to the other one. Let's see if that works. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a good color that I think will match. There we go. Look at the difference. It's very, very subtle. But if you look at her hair and her face, the tones are coming out. But I do want to brush, erase it just a little. There we go. All right. Before. After. That's an image I can be proud of because, again, it wasn't for the dress. It's for the model and it's for my creativity. Now, that looks great, doesn't it? Now you're going to say to me, Vanelli, why didn't you show this to me in the very beginning? I'm going to duplicate this. So we'll create another virtual copy. But this time, what we're going to do is adjustments. And you know what? Let me come in here. And let's just delete. We're going to delete all of this stuff. Actually, you know what? It'd be easier just to do this. Adjustment. Revert to original. All right. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to start with the original image again. Now, Skylum created generative swap, gen erase. That's using AI. But remember this, and let me get out here a little bit more. I can't stress this enough. Luminar Neo is a photography program. It's an image editing program. It's not Photoshop. It's not a graphic-based program. If you want to create stunning AI backgrounds, use ChatGPT, use Adobe, Photoshop, use Firefox, use Firefly. These were designed to create those really, really cool backgrounds. What I want to do instead is just take the image itself, and I want to use our AI to mask around her. So let me get to it. I want to use our AI. I'll do this, crop it, and let's go to right here. Do the same thing again. About there. Yep. All right. There we go. Now we're going to come in. Gen swap. Well, what are we going to do? You know what? I wish I saved my prompt for you, which I didn't do, but we'll do this. I'm going to come in and just paint this area here. I'm going to tell it, look, take this area right here. And while you're at it, come over here. And what are we going to say? Great. Now I'm going to watch my spelling errors. All right. Deselect just a little bit. Boom. All right. Vintage, brownish, floral background. Make this image look great. Now, I would have put that through ChatGPT or something to help me craft it a little bit better. So I have no idea what that's going to do. Here's the difference with the first way I showed you is pure control. You pick the background. You're able to position. Ooh, that's not. It's not the greatest, but look what it did. I mean, it gave me a different variation, and then of course, you know, you can get rid of all this stuff down in here. But that's kind of interesting, but that's definitely not her hair, right? So let's look at it. This is it. Look what it did. You know what? You have to decide. Me personally, I wouldn't go that route. Only because I'm doing this for her. I want to be able to make sure that you could recreate that image of her. I don't care about the background or any of that stuff. So for this AI, unless it was for an ad or something else, you know, but look what it's doing. It's not giving me exactly what I need, but that's the trade-off. So you could spend hours creating ideas and stuff like this. What I would recommend, use the generative stuff like this for ideas. So me as a photographer now, when I saw what I just did there, you know what? On my next shoot, I'm going to team up with a florist. I'm going to show the florist what I did with the original image. So let me cancel out of this. I'm going to show the florist that, hey, you know what? What do you think of this image here? Do you like it? Yeah, well, how would you like to add your wreaths into the scene? How would you like to add your vision to a photo shoot? And then I would create the background with it. So when I took a picture of her, click, 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 it's done. If that's how I'm going to use that AI. Because remember, if Yessie says to me, Vanelli, I love what you did. Can you do it to this picture, and this picture? Well, guess what? I have to start all over again. And with that generative AI, you're not going to get consistent results over and over. If you want one-offs, that's great. So use AI tools as an assistant. That's what it was meant for. And that's what our team created. So please, on Facebook, understand we're using it as a creative tool. Don't get so upset when you see AI stuff. Think what you could do with it and put it into your system. All right? So I hope that was educational for you, and I hope that was entertaining. I know it's a lot more than a 10 or 15 minutes or less, but we could blame Ben for that one because Ben wanted me to go in full, and I did that spur of the moment. So I had my original one set for only 10 minutes because Ben's a good guy. We did this for you. So that's for you. A shout out to my buddy Ben. All right? Now, remember, here we are. That right there is for the registering of the new link to these episodes on Zoom. And if you do this, you'll be able to stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment where you can ask questions as if we're sitting across from each other from a table one-on-one. If you haven't done so, please make sure you switch over to Facebook. Now, I know some countries don't have Facebook, so do the link for these. And then when you join the Ask Me Anything segments, ask the questions that you don't get to ask in those groups. And we'll try to accommodate you the best that we can. Always remember on YouTube, you can leave comments, and our team is always looking at them. All right? Well, guys, thank you for this special episode. And remember, next week, that new link goes into effect, August 6th, 2025. All right? If you're here, stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. For everyone else, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.